I never thought I would tell this story publicly. For years, I carried a secret so heavy that even hearing certain words would make my heart race. Many people believe spiritual attacks only happen in horror movies, strange stories, or distant places. That is exactly what I believed people should think. Because the less they knew, the easier it was to keep them vulnerable. What I am about to share is not meant to create fear. It is meant to expose a reality that most victims never recognize until tremendous damage has already been done. I was once part of a dark world that thrived on confusion, discouragement, distraction, and silent destruction. And the most shocking thing, the attacks were rarely dramatic. No flying objects. No strange creatures appearing in bedrooms. No scenes from movies. The most effective attacks were the ones people dismissed as ordinary life. That was our advantage. If what happened to me had not completely changed my life, I would still be hiding this secret today. So before you skip this video, listen carefully. Because one sentence changed everything for me. The greatest attack is the one the victim never recognizes. And that sentence haunted me for years. I was not born evil. I was not born wanting darkness. I was a normal young woman searching for acceptance, power, answers, and belonging. Like many people, I experienced disappointment. I experienced rejection. I experienced pain. And when someone offered me what looked like a shortcut to control my circumstances, I listened. At first, nothing seemed dangerous. Everything appeared harmless. Promises were made. Questions were answered. Certain things happened that seemed impossible to explain. The more I saw, the more curious I became. The more curious I became, the deeper I went. What I thought was knowledge slowly became a prison. But by the time I realized it, turning back felt impossible. I had already crossed lines I never imagined crossing. When people hear stories like mine, they usually imagine that darkness focuses on destroying successful people, wealthy individuals, famous figures, or influential leaders. That does happen, but it is not the primary target. The primary target is hope. Hope is dangerous. Hope makes people keep moving. Hope makes people pray. Hope makes people believe tomorrow can be better. Hope makes people refuse to quit. And that is why hope is attacked first. I remember listening to conversations where strategies were discussed. The goal was rarely immediate destruction. The goal was gradual discouragement. Little by little. Day by day. Until the person surrendered their dreams voluntarily. Because when somebody quits on themselves, no force is needed afterward. The battle has already been won. People expect attacks to arrive through frightening experiences. But the most common form often appears as persistent negativity. Not ordinary bad days. Everyone has bad days. I am talking about a pattern. A strange cycle. A person suddenly loses motivation. Confidence begins disappearing. Opportunities seem close but somehow never materialize. Relationships become strained. Peace becomes difficult to maintain. Focus weakens. Confusion increases. Everything feels heavier than it should. Many people blame themselves. And sometimes personal choices are responsible. But sometimes there is another layer people fail to recognize. A silent pressure designed to exhaust the mind. Because an exhausted mind makes poor decisions. Poor decisions create consequences. Consequences create more discouragement. And discouragement creates vulnerability. The cycle repeats. Again. 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 Until the person starts believing failure is their identity. There was a particular night I cannot forget. Years have passed. Yet I still remember every detail. I was participating in activities that I am deeply ashamed of today. During one gathering, a discussion centered around a woman. She was not wealthy. She was not famous. She was not powerful. She was simply determined. Every setback seemed to make her stronger. Every disappointment pushed her closer to God. Every obstacle increased her faith. And that frustrated many people. I remember hearing someone say, "Why won't she give up?" That question stayed with me. Why won't she quit? Why was she still hopeful? Why was she still praying? Why was she still smiling? Why was she still believing? The more they talked, the more uncomfortable I became. Because for the first time, I realized something. The woman was not the problem. Her resilience was. Her persistence was. Her faith was. And suddenly I saw everything differently. The objective was never simply to harm. The objective was to convince her that her efforts were pointless. That realization shook me. The secret method. One thing many people never understand is that fear is often more effective than reality. Fear can paralyze someone before anything actually happens. Fear can make opportunities look dangerous. Fear can turn possibilities into impossibilities. Fear can convince a person to remain stuck. And once fear takes root, it grows quickly. That is why so many attacks begin with intimidation. Not physical intimidation. Mental intimidation. Emotional intimidation. Spiritual intimidation. A whisper saying, "You are not good enough. You will never succeed. Nothing will change. You are alone. You should stop trying." The voice may sound familiar. Sometimes it even sounds like your own thoughts. And that makes it difficult to identify. The hardest part of sharing this testimony is admitting how much damage was caused. Not because people were weak, but because many never realized what was happening. I saw talented individuals abandon their dreams. I saw loving families divided by unnecessary conflict. I saw promising futures delayed by discouragement. I saw people surrender while standing only a few steps away from breakthrough. And every time it happened, the same emotion followed. Regret. Deep regret. Because many victories were lost before the battle was actually over. People assumed the struggle meant defeat. But often it simply meant resistance. Today that realization breaks my heart. The biggest lie I believed was this: if circumstances look bad, hope is useless. Nothing could be further from the truth. Hope is often most valuable when circumstances appear hopeless. That is why it is targeted. Think about it. If a person keeps believing, they keep moving. If they keep moving, they keep learning. If they keep learning, they keep growing. If they keep growing, they eventually overcome. So the objective becomes obvious. Stop the belief. Stop the movement. Stop the growth. Stop the progress. That was the pattern I witnessed repeatedly. Everything changed when I reached a point where I could no longer ignore the emptiness inside me. On the outside, I appeared fine. Inside, I felt trapped. The fear that once controlled others began controlling me. The darkness I thought I understood began consuming my peace. Sleep became difficult. Joy disappeared. Purpose vanished. And for the first time, I realized I needed help. Real help. Not another ritual. Not another secret. Not another promise. I needed freedom. One evening I found myself crying. Not because somebody forced me. Not because anyone threatened me. I cried because I was tired. Tired of carrying guilt. Tired of carrying fear. Tired of pretending everything was fine. And in that moment, I prayed sincerely. Maybe for the first time in years. That prayer became the beginning of my transformation. After leaving that life behind, I expected every problem to disappear instantly. That did not happen. Challenges remained. Difficult days continued. Obstacles still appeared. But one thing changed dramatically. I no longer faced them from a place of hopelessness. I faced them from a place of faith. And that made all the difference. Because circumstances do not always determine outcomes. Mindset matters. Faith matters. Perseverance matters. Character matters. Consistency matters. The people who overcome are not always the strongest. Many times they are simply the people who refuse to quit. If you feel like you have been under constant pressure, here are the lessons that helped me. 1. Guard your mind. Be careful what you feed your thoughts. Constant negativity creates fertile ground for discouragement. Choose content, conversations, and environments that strengthen your faith and confidence. 2. Stay connected to God. Prayer is not a religious performance. It is communication. Develop a consistent prayer life. Not only during emergencies. Every day. 3. Do not isolate yourself. Isolation magnifies struggles. Stay connected to trustworthy people who encourage growth, accountability, and wisdom. 4. Refuse to surrender hope. Hope is not denial. Hope is the decision to believe that today's situation does not have the final word. 5. Speak life over yourself. Many people repeat negative statements without realizing it. Words influence thoughts. Thoughts influence actions. Actions influence outcomes. Choose your words carefully. 6. Stay consistent. Consistency defeats many attacks that rely on discouragement. Keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow. If there is one thing I want you to remember from this testimony, it is this. Not every battle announces itself. Some struggles arrive quietly. Some attacks disguise themselves as ordinary discouragement. Some pressures hide behind fear, confusion, and hopelessness. But none of those things have the authority to define your future. I know because I spent years watching people fight battles they could not see. And I also watched something else. I watched ordinary people overcome extraordinary obstacles. I watched broken individuals rebuild their lives. I watched families heal. I watched dreams recover. I watched faith restore hope. And those moments proved something powerful. Darkness is not undefeated. Fear is not invincible. Hopelessness is not permanent. No matter what you have been facing recently, do not make a permanent decision based on a temporary struggle. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep moving forward. Because the truth about spiritual attacks nobody talks about is this. The goal is often not to destroy you. The goal is to convince you to destroy your own hope. And once you understand that truth, you can refuse to surrender it. Thank you for listening to my story. If this testimony encouraged you, let it remind you that your current battle is not necessarily the end of your journey. Sometimes the very pressure trying to make you quit is proof that your breakthrough is closer than you think. And that is something I learned the hard way.